Senator Petersen, the senator from Fairfax City.
I'll speak to the measure.
The senator has the floor.
You know, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I was afraid that the session would get by without me being able to speak on the floor about data centers. Didn't quite make it. This is a bill that basically extends and codifies the sales and use tax exemption that we give to data centers. Now, that sales and use tax exemption cost us $138 million in fiscal year 2021. It's cost us over $1 billion over the past decade. It has become one of the most significant sales and use tax exemptions on our books, and we have become the center of the data center industry in America and, frankly, in the world. And the governor recently announced that we were going to attract $35 billion in new data centers, which, and I just briefly read this substitute, looks like that's incorporated in what we're about to pass. Now, it's worth noting, what exactly are we getting for this? Well, data centers don't create jobs. They create jobs when they're built, but once they're built, they're largely unmanned or unwomaned. They're basically just empty structures that hold large computers. Now, do we generate tax revenue from that? We don't get much income tax from it because, again, we're not creating jobs. Do the localities get property tax? Yes, they do. But remember, these buildings depreciate over 30 years. And once they're fully depreciated, they're not collecting property tax. And yet the buildings remain. And where are these buildings being sited? Well, in one case, they're being sited literally within a stone's throw of the Manassas battlefield. In fact, right on the site where the Iron Brigade fought the Stonewall Brigade in the Battle of Groveton, one of the most significant small battles in the Civil War. Where are they being sited? They're being sited next to Brandy Station battlefield. Where are they being sited? They're being sited up and down the Blue Ridge Spine. I mean, they had a public hearing late into the night in the town of Warrenton last night, which brought out the actor Robert Duvall, who hadn't been seen in years, actually came out to testify against it. Okay? Now you say, but chap, this is a local zoning issue. And yet we're about to give them a sales and use tax exemption that exempts them from the sales and use tax that every other product in Virginia has to pay. So it is a state issue. The bottom line is, look, I know I've heard it all before. Mountains don't vote. Fields don't vote. Trees don't vote. I get all that. But we at a minimum need to slow this train down and take a look at, A, whether or not we're actually creating jobs through this tax credit, and B, what is the impact on our environment? Because let me tell you something. Right now, 20% of our electricity load in the Commonwealth is supporting data centers. That's right now. It was 12% just a few years ago. This is before we had $3.5 billion in new, or $35 billion in new data center investment. The digital gateway alone in Prince William County is going to have enough square footage to make 155 Walmart supercenters. 155 in one project in Prince William County. This is a massive development that we're placing along the spine of the Blue Ridge, right down the Virginia Piedmont. Now, ironically, if we could find a way perhaps to push some of this growth into parts of Virginia which need the revenue more, that perhaps need whatever construction jobs created more, we ought to do that. And we actually passed unanimously in this body a study resolution to try and get to that. It didn't make it through the other body. So right now, we have no plan for data centers. And I know there is some language in this bill about, well, VEDP is going to look at it and everything else. We need to get people to the table like environmental organizations, historic preservation organizations, organizations that actually have a long eye for both the history and landscape of this state. So I hope we're going to get a few red votes up on this bill, because believe me, this is our only platform to raise this to the attention of the governor and the public, that what we are doing is going to have an impact on our children and our grandchildren's Virginia and for generations to come. Thank you. I oppose the bill.
The question is, shall the Barker floor substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor substitute is accepted. The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 31, noes 9.
Ayes 31, noes 9. The bill passes.